and welcome to a cover story conversation. I have with me Yashwant Deshmukh. He's the director and founding editor of Sea Voter. He's also a psychologist and a political analyst, someone who I've had many conversations with. But today we're going to be talking, Yashwantji, about Delhi, battle for the capital. And your Sea Voter tracker has been, tracking it on a daily basis. I really would like to talk to you about, where this election is going. Is it going to, we are seeing the battle lines drawn between Kejriwal versus Rahul versus Modi. What is at stake? What will the role the Congress play? Will it be a spoiler? And who will it hurt more? So, a lot of questions for you. But first of all, your first impressions about the Delhi election.
Well, first impression is that it's a very interesting election. Obviously, it is no more a one-sided one that we have seen in the last five elections. When I say five, that includes three Lok Sabha and two assembly elections. They were either this way or that way. So we can safely say that, after five elections and 10 long years, we are somewhere near a good fight of sort where it's not a walkover for any one particular party. BJP has been walking over in Lok Sabha. Aam Aadmi Party has been walking over in Vidhan Sabha. So it's no more a walkover, Priya. It's a good contest, very decent, nice, balanced contest. And a lot of leveling down has happened in a way that it is a level playing field of sort for multiple reasons. And one of the biggest reason is that Aam Aadmi Party is facing 10 years of incumbency, and also the fact that due to different, alleged scams and the jail term and the Sheesh Mahal controversy on the top of it, has kind of done away with the anti-corruption crusader image that Aam Aadmi Party was built on. So with that image being blown away, on that account, it has become a kind of a level playing field. But at the same time, please go.
That hasn't made so much of a difference. Is Arvind Kejriwal still ahead? Because I remember on our last show 2 weeks ago, you were saying that Arvind Kejriwal is that gap which Modi has with the rivals in Lok Sabha. You are seeing that kind of a
That's
gap.
true. That's true. That's true. And I remember that evening on another show, we had GVL on the show, and GVL was correctly pointing out to me that, Yashwant, we have won election even without putting up a CM candidate or the CM candidate being run away, like he gave example of Odisha.
Yeah.
And which is a valid example, because Naveen Babu, not just in terms of that he was stalwart of Odisha, nobody was anywhere near. His approval ratings were 60s and 70s, and nobody even ran in the double digits in Odisha. And for that matter, in our MOTN for India today, for how many years Naveen Babu has been the #1 ranked chief minister in India. And to give due credit to Naveen Babu, he actually polled more votes than the BJP. I mean, poor guy lost it, but having a 30 years of incumbency, that's a big thing, and to more than quarter a century of incumbency and still managing to be the largest vote puller in Odisha, it's a big deal. But what GVL said made sense to me, that to win the election, they probably do not need a stalwart face. What BJP has shown at least in the last 6 months, kind of resilience, purely out of their their organizational strength and organizational muscle. I think that's a point which I took well that day.
No, that is also very gracious of you to acknowledge that. Very few people do that, and that's what I like about you. But having said that, they fought Delhi with a face, they fought Delhi without a face. Arvind Kejriwal has beaten them both times.
Yeah, I mean, they went with a face, without a face. But imagine that after 1993 election, the only election where BJP actually became a single largest in Delhi was 2013 election. And that was a face, not an aggressive face, but a very, very docile, homely face of Dr. Harshvardhan. He almost 4 seat or 5 seat, if I'm not wrong. So if you look into the guys who were really on that block, who managed to make BJP look successful, Sahib Singh Verma, or for that matter, Madalla Khurana. I think Sushma ji was different in a sort that she had that star power, but she lost the election. I mean, come to think of it, Even that star power in the आलू प्याज के भाव जो
प्याज
चढ़े
के
थे
भाव,
in
I
the
remember
onion
that.
crisis of Delhi, Shilpa could not help BJP. You remember that? So,
Yes.
so Sahib Singh Verma was not a I wouldn't call him as a star buster in that way. He was an organization man. So was, for that matter, to a large extent, V.K. Malhotra, or for that matter, even Madanlal Khurana ji.
Right.
Dr. Harshvardhan was out and out. There was no charisma. He was a completely dedicated and organization person. Now, the big failures which came across was, of course, Kiran Bedi. I mean, there was no organization, just star value. Or for that matter, even when they pushed on Manoj Tiwari, star
Hmm.
value, no organization. So that tells us something about Delhi, that BJP in Delhi is successful when they are more relying on the organizational value rather than the star value of it. So I guess that BJP has understood that, and the signs of that were evident in the Lok Sabha election, because if you look into 7 Lok Sabha seats, I
Hmm.
don't think, barring Manoj Tiwari, uh, you can attribute the star cast to any of those 6 Lok Sabha candidates.
Correct.
Bansuri Iswara, maybe slightly, in a way that she is daughter of Shishmaji, but she's too young to have
Hmm.
her own impression to start with. I mean, she doesn't carry that star image at this point of time. So they won all the seats purely fielding the absolute local candidate. And if you take into account the NCR, it was not just limited to Delhi. Even in Gurgaon or Ghaziabad or Noida, they went for the local candidates, which actually was beneficial to them. So I guess that when BJP is saying that they do not need a face, they kind of have understood that, okay, if Delhi, they cannot match Arvind Kejriwal's star power, then they have to just find an antidote in the organizational power.
But due to a lack of a face, do you see this becoming a Kejriwal versus Modi versus Rahul fight? Because Congress में भी face नहीं है. It's elevated Kejriwal's fight to a huge level.
It's weird. It's Kejriwal versus Kejriwal fight.
अच्छा, he's the
It's
issue.
not even Kejriwal versus anybody fight.
हाँ.
Kejriwal is fighting a fight against his own downfall. You know, Shishmail is self-inflicted. Many of these things are self-inflicted. So obviously, it's a Kejriwal versus Kejriwal fight. He has to just ensure that his image doesn't go down below a certain threshold. You know, otherwise, we know even a candidate like Sheila Dikshit ji, for no fault
Hmm.
of hers, poor lady. And by the way, as I told you the other day, she is still fondly remembered as the best ever chief minister Delhi could ever have. You
I
know,
was going to
even
ask you about that. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, imagine Sheila Dikshit ji losing an election for no fault of hers. If it was not the anti-incumbency, hugely unpopular Manmohan Singh government, UPA 2 at that point of time in 2013, I genuinely believe that Sheila Dikshit ji would have romped home again, probably the 4th term in a row. You know, so so that way, Arvind Kejriwal is he has his own fight. Arvind Kejriwal versus the Arvind Kejriwal going down versus Arvind Kejriwal trying to hold up. That's the funny situation right now.
So much like Modi, in fact, one would say,
Oh yeah,
his.
that is so true. That is so
Hmm.
much like Modi in a way that there is no fight. It is only the thing that Mr. Modi had to shield himself from overexposure, from the anti-incumbency, not letting his equity being diluted just because his chief ministers were not working properly or his MPs were not working properly. So I guess that he has post Lok Sabha election, if you will see carefully, he is shielding himself from overexposure of that sort. He did not campaign much in the assembly election.
Hmm.
And assembly, even without much of his campaign, BJP managed to win. You know, 2 states directly, Jammu, if you look at it that way, because BJP doesn't have any equity in the Kashmir Valley. So 3 states, if you count in that way, whichever way, they kind of delivered. Where they could not deliver was Hemant Soren's magic in Jharkhand. And we know the reasons of that. So yeah, I mean, it's much like what we see at the national level. Probably the similar kind of setup is being fronted by Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi.
Okay, before I talk about issues, I want to also, I love talking about faces. If BJP would field a face, it's a little late in the day, but why not someone like a Hardeep Puri, or even we had heard Smriti Irani's name doing the rounds. Now she may be standing from the Greater Kailash seat even as we speak. There are faces that Delhiites would associate with. It's not that they didn't have a choice.
I think Smriti Irani has been declared as the star campaigner in Delhi. So after that announcement, I really don't think that she is
Oh, I missed
going
that. Okay.
not going to contest. Besides, let's also keep in mind that Smriti Irani is an asset that has been developed in Amethi and the UP battleground. So I may be totally wrong here, but I genuinely believe she has a better future in the politics of UP and center via UP and the center. She is
Hmm.
not going to dilute her equity in this particular fight because, uh, I mean, looking at from her side perspective, God forbid if Delhi doesn't really work out, it's it's further problematic for her, right? She is the one female face of the BJP which has a capacity to draw crowd, pull the crowds on her own star value.
Right.
Yeah, she did it for party. She said that our party asked me to do it, so I had to do it because I'm
Hmm.
a soldier of the party in that way. But she never wanted it to. It was almost like Sheila Dikshit ji when she was asked to become
UP in
Chief
charge.
Minister face in Uttar Pradesh. You remember?
Right.
This was
You got very nice
this
comparison.
2007 mistake. She never wanted to. These leaders, they know, and I have this feeling that I don't think that Smriti Irani would like I mean, uh, to get into the Delhi politics as such. I doubt. I would be seriously doubting that.
Okay. Now, about the issues, or rather, one more question on Sheila Dikshit's charisma. Why has the Congress not been able to capitalize? Who do you see as the tallest face in the Congress today? Is it Sandeep Dikshit? Is it, the Congress PCC chief is really not really coming to his own?
Congress has a different set of problem. It's not about the lack of face or not having. Ajay Makan,
Ajay
to
Makan.
give due credit to him, in the last 4 years, he was pretty aggressive against Aam Aadmi Party.
Right.
Congress was actually aggressive on the local issues. I mean, basically the liquor scam and everything was something which Congress was in the forefront. I mean, the fair thing is to say that on the local politics issue, BJP was literally absent in Delhi for 4 years.
Hmm.
I mean, if you compare between Congress and the BJP, Congress was much more aggressive on the front. But unfortunately, the moment they decided to go with AAP in Lok Sabha election, that very moment I realized that they are going to be finished off. Now, the problem with the Congress is they are not clear what they are trying to do. Sheila Dikshit ji, again, I'm sorry, because now there are many things which are coming from many personal conversations and everything. I met her before she contested the Lok Sabha elections in Delhi again, the last penalty
Hmm.
one. And she was very clear on that one that Congress has no future in Delhi unless it deals with Aam Aadmi Party. She said that our problem is not the BJP. Our problem is Aam Aadmi Party. Unless we pull them down politically, we cannot go up. Because she was very clear that BJP and the Congress votes are not really, I mean, too much of amalgamation is not possible. There is a certain vote which goes here and there, but not much is there. And it was the Aam Aadmi Party which has kind of emptied the coffers of the Congress electorally.
Hmm.
She was very clear, and she was so much clear, Priya, that actually she said something very interesting. She said that, when we revive the Congress, I know very well the first default gainer of that revival would be the BJP. Because when we get revived, we are going to pull down the Aam Aadmi Party, and BJP is about 35-36% vote. They get it anyway. So by default, they will be winning in one round. But after that, we will come back. And that was the path, that was the clarity of mind she had. Unfortunately, that clarity of mind got blurred. If they
Hmm.
had that clarity of mind and continued to contest the Lok Sabha election, look at it this way. If they had continued to contest the Lok Sabha election on their own, looking at 14 and 19 verdicts, I am pretty damn sure that at least in 5 Lok Sabha areas, Congress would have come number 2, Aam Aadmi Party would have been number 3. I'm very clear
Wow.
about that. All right. Once they have become a number 2 and they would have continued with their aggression against Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party,
Hmm.
then that clarity in voters would have come. Now the opposition voters, when I say opposition voters, means anti-BJP voters,
Hmm.
when they have to vote anti-BJP, they are very clear they have to vote for Aam Aadmi Party. Why should we vote for the Congress? Because Congress is pro-up. I mean, they don't have
They're the,
any locus standi on that. Where do you stand in this
yeah.
game?
So vote for the
So
winning one.
yeah, so I think that's where they lost the entire narrative. They should have stuck on their own.
That's very interesting. What you've told me also points to the core of the existential dilemma of the whole India alliance per se. Also, Congress ties up, but then it loses its own vote bank in the bargain. I'm going to come with you to you after a quick break and talk about this and also the issues that are going to be dominating in Delhi. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to a cover story conversation. I have with me Yashwant Deshmukh, and we're getting an inside track on the Delhi elections. But more than that, the larger picture, what you said before the break, I found that very interesting regarding the India alliance. And that is the problem which the Congress is facing right now, not just in Delhi, but in other states also, UP also. So, how do they overcome it? Do you see this India alliance, as Omar says, is it just for the Lok Sabha and that's it?
That's the contradiction of that India alliance because all these alliance partners have grown from at the expense of the Congress.
Yes.
So they do not want Congress to go back beyond a certain limit as well. Problem with the Congress aggression is that whenever they get a little bit of oxygen, they become so overtly aggressive with their own alliance partners that it puts the alliance partners on the back foot. You know. So look at the way Mamata Banerjee or Akhilesh Yadav, or for that matter, Uddhav Thackeray, they have supported Arvind Kejriwal. The way
Correct.
they
Huh.
have done Congress in it. Now, ideal situation would be that in the states where they have regional partners, Congress should gracefully take the junior role. You know, ideal situation would be that they should go to Mamata Banerjee and say that, okay, you give us 20, 25 seats, whatever, but let us play a constructive role with you in the alliance. We are
Hmm.
willing to be your. They should do the same with Akhilesh or anybody. And then uh, I know, I mean, nobody wants to compromise on self-respect during the negotiation, but asking for something which you don't really duly deserve, and then your alliance partners start ridiculing you, that is something which is avoidable. You know, for
Hmm.
example, I know for sure when I talk to the my friends in Samajwadi Party, asking them कि कांग्रेस के साथ में असेंबली का अलायंस होगा क्या, कि कैसे होगा, क्या वो शुरू ही करते हैं कि हम 150 सीट लड़ेंगे, और 150 सीट छोड़ो 15 सीट की हैसियत नहीं. So I mean that's where they start with
Hmm.
Samajwadi Party lead. And why should you ask for 150 seats to start with when you do not have 150 candidates? You know, you should
Correct.
be gracefully accepting 40, 50, whatever Akhilesh is offering you.
Hmm.
Same goes with Yadav. Why the Congress insisted on contesting 70 seats last time when they
Hmm.
did not even have candidates in 35 seats, more than 35 seats. Tejasvi would have become the chief minister if he had contested 35 seats more. Easily, I'm telling you. So that is something which they are realizing. Now the thing is, ideally, if I was the strategist for them to see it that way,
Huh.
probably I would have given a free run to the regional alliance partners in the assembly elections, and I would have asked for a fair, bigger share in the Lok Sabha elections, saying that when Lok Sabha election is there, people look at Congress as the good national alternative to the BJP.
BJP.
So that would have been a good balance to strike out without
And that's
compromising.
very sound advice. And now's the time to strike that deal, not on the eve of the Lok Sabha. Now is
Actually, yes, you are so right, Priya.
hmm,
Now is the time
yeah,
because when you are in a post-war next when you are still 4 years away, then you have to go back to the drawing board. Look at the basics, make it clear with clarity. Go to your alliance partners, talk to them with sense that you see this is our long-term approach, this is our short-term approach, and let's talk it out and do it that way. But again, as I said, 2024 Lok Sabha verdict was so grandly overanalyzed and wrongly analyzed. As if everybody started looking at BJP got
wiped
140,
out.
not 40, and as if Congress got 199, not 99. You
Hmm.
know, so 24 was somehow analyzed from the lens of 2004, which was a completely wrong assertion to start with. You know,
Hmm.
even in the worst of the time in 2004 or at the 99 elections, the Congress vote share was 4%, 5% more than the BJP national vote share. You know,
Okay. Hmm.
even in the worst of the times of the Congress. Today, that gap is like huge. Congress is 22, 23, BJP is almost touching 40%, you know.
Hmm.
So I mean, from a plus of 5, you are minus 15. There is a almost swing of 20% that has happened not overnight, but in the last 20 years, and that's a swing which is now kind of settled. BJP is settled for the last 10 years, uh,
At a
40%. Congress is settled around 20%. I mean,
got it.
say 22,
Hmm.
23 and 37 to 42. So those numbers are settled, Priya. So anybody who is so damn inclined to look at 24 from the same lens of 2004, I'm
Is
sorry, wrongly mistaken. You have just tried to overanalyze the 24 verdict. You were just way too happy to see that BJP's own number came down and they are no more having a majority
crossed
of
them.
their vote, and that gave so much of happiness to you
Hmm.
that you are unable to realize the fact that BJP is not having a majority of its own because they unexpectedly lost Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan due to their own internal equation and internal fighting. It was no Purusharth of the opposition,
Hmm.
no valor of the opposition that, okay, opposition this did something spectacularly out of the box and they did it. No, nothing. Sorry. No. Let's face it. UP and Rajasthan, they lost because of their internal mess. And that 40 seats, Priya, if you add those 40 seats to BJP tally,
They
BJP
would
on
have.
its is beyond majority, NDA is at 350, बेताल जो है वापस पेड़ पे है सो विक्रम बेताल की कहानी में कहीं कुछ एक 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 वो आना चाहिए बैलेंस की दे शुड नॉट हैव रेड टू मच इनटू दैट वर्डिक्ट
Right.
and I think Haryana, Jammu and
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra were a very very rude reminder of that thing to them.
The wake up call. No, thank you so much. But quick question before I let you go. I mean, I really appreciate the overall picture that we also need to keep in mind while looking at the Delhi election. But just to come back to what would you say are the big three issues? You said corruption, but is corruption a bigger issue than welfareism? Because you've also been talking about how Kejriwal's welfare schemes are really, working.
No, corruption is not an issue. As I said, it's
Not
Kejriwal
an issue.
versus Kejriwal. Kejriwal's
Huh.
own image getting down is an issue for him. Not that
Okay.
some BJP leader is being super rinki chamkar, zada safed. No, nothing of that sort. Nothing of that sort. It's Kejriwal to Kejriwal. And that's why that brings you to the hedging side of it, that okay, if not that, then Aam Aadmi Party has to contest on the governance record, which to be fair, is a pretty credible record in that way, at least for the 35% bottom of the pyramid here,
Hmm.
because the free bijli, free pani, mohalla clean, these things do matter to them. And there
Right.
is a fear factor that if BJP comes to power, then they will take away those things. And earlier BJP's campaign was anti-Revdi. But look at the way the Prime Minister was kind of forced to say that if we come to power, we are not going to take away any of these things to nullify the fear factor among the crowd. So obviously that governance, that freebies, those things, they do matter. And I believe that what will be the critical and the deciding factor would be the female vote bank. Neither Mandal nor Kamandal, but Abha Mandal. That Abha Mandal is going to decide it again. In our tracker, among the male voters, it's the tie, statistical tie between AAP and the BJP. But among the female voter, Aam Aadmi Party still has a significant lead. Now, if the BJP comes up with some schemes or something which they say extraordinary things for the women voter, then we will have to keep an eye how it is going to have an impact on the female voters of Delhi. So far, it looks like that the credibility on delivering something, if they have done on the Labharti thing, Kejriwal or Aam Aadmi Party, it still holds among the female voter for sure. And that's where eventually it is going to go. I mean, so just keep an eye on the Abha Mandal and you will know where exactly it's going.
Okay, but I'm going to call you back for many more discussions before that, and we're going to see things from your perspective also. But thank you so much. Always good to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.